and welcome to episode 186 of the DayZ Podcast. Helkiana, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Not super tired, but
Yeah, actually, so am I. So am I. Had a big weekend, just doing stuff, and yeah, not getting enough sleep. Which at my age, I need as much beauty sleep as I can get to maintain this. I told someone the other day that I consider myself the Fabio of the DayZ community. So I'll just let you swallow that bit of vomit that just came into your mouth, Helkiana. But yeah, you don't know who
yeah.
Fabio is?
No,
That's why the joke didn't land.
no.
There's nothing worse than when a joke doesn't land with someone. Fabio is this guy who got a lot of those novels that your grandmother and your mother might have read. You know, the steamy romance ones with the guy with his shirt off on a pirate ship, and what do they call them? They're not like erotica novels, but they're like fantasy passion novels. And yeah, Fabio was the usual guy they would use for those lovely images. And yeah, it was a stupid joke. Anyway, let's move on to something else while I die a little inside. Lappaduch, how you doing, buddy?
Hey man, doing great, doing great. Since you said you're getting tired, I'm probably gonna need to substitute with energy since I'm already at my peak, if you know what I mean.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Lappaduch, you're part of the Czech modding community, mate.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say there's anything specific as Czech modding community, but there's like part of like-minded people who are mostly comprised of our server, and yeah, we're Czech.
I don't know, but for me personally, I don't know how you feel, Helkiana, but I like the fact that there is a strong, passionate Czech community, considering that's where BI is based. You know, it's just kind of symbiotic, if that's the right word for it. You know, the way it should
Yeah,
be.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's nice to see some more people out there.
hmm And it's possibly one of the issues that you face when you've got a global gaming community, that you do end up with little cliques of communities that aren't so much people that just don't want to, but when English is not the first language or something, there's that whole Spanish speaking community. There's a Chinese community, a Russian community. Um, there's many communities out there that those of us who are predominantly more in the English speaking community that don't really know much about it. Like Senior Serpiente, he's massive. Even I've forgotten his name, the French creator, who's been around since day dot, but barely speaks English. So you don't see him collabing with any of the people that we usually know of. But yeah, it's great to have these communities though where we can work together. And Hunter Z was the one who put me onto you, Lappa. You're doing some quite interesting stuff with RP and Stalker style service.
Oh yeah, the RP, the dreaded word. So many people. I think it's quite controversial actually. A lot of people, when they when you say RP, the first thing they comes up to mind is usually standing around campfires and doing some of this like almost the sim stuff. Not that I have anything against it. It's just I don't think it's kind of the idea of what DayZ was supposed to be. Not that I would take your idea of what DayZ is supposed to be from anyone. But yeah, so there's this notion of DayZ RP being something, or even getting like a how to say it, like even get maybe some sort of press from other games like 5M or I mean Minecraft or Roblox. I'm not really sure. I don't want to delve into that, but yeah, DayZ RP is definitely probably a bit controversial, and I'm gonna improve its image.
I don't think it's controversial so much, Helgiana. I think it's not everyone's cup of tea.
No, it's definitely not, and there's does tend to be quite a bit of drama around it. Because like people have different definitions of what RP is supposed to be like.
Yep. Because that's something that you actually don't mind doing as well, isn't it, Helkiana? You prefer the more PVE style and the a bit of
Well,
art
yeah,
stuff.
PV, like more like light RP, I would say, not full in character kind of thing. It's just more
DayZ
like,
Underground style.
yeah, just talk about in-game stuff generally, but like I don't have to like make up a character. I tried RP a couple times and I just couldn't.
Same. I'm the same. But DayZ Underground for me, Lapper, was my first real dabble into it, and I liked the way that they handled it there. It wasn't compulsory, but the primary rule was just don't ruin the experience for someone else. So, if you don't like that sort of stuff, just don't play on those servers where you might encounter those sort of people because that's someone's gaming experience, man. Let them have fun. Might sound a bit cringe to
Yeah.
you, but I just used to go along with it, and I learned the basics about to try not to go out of character, and but there's a whole if you delve into it, there's a whole rabbit hole of ethics and courtesies and etiquette and all the rest of it, Lapper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you've underlined pretty well. You and Hilkiana. Actually, my first DayZ RP server was DayZ Core. Not sure if anyone remembers it. It's now
Yep.
dead. It was really one of my favorites because not only I'm massive fan of Livonia, it's also the organic RP element, which I think is kind of what DayZ should be. When I was talking about what DayZ should be, is this is my idea of it. Like not like the so to say sweaty PvP but like the random
Yeah.
encounters. Living your adventure and eventually starting over from the coast or in case of Livonia from the north.
It's
Yeah, but
It's interesting though, like, but because almost anything can be, with a slight twist of like I did an event last night. They're going to talk a bit more about it, but we had a bodyguard, we had a bunch of bodyguards protecting a target, and really all we needed to do was just add a story and a bit of acting, and we were doing RP essentially. We were giving people some sort of mission. It's not that extreme. What I think some people overthink it, Helkiana, of what
Yeah.
RP is. It's hard with the character stuff, and depending on the server, there are some servers where if you're not down with the all the lore and all the rest of it, you're going to really struggle. And there are some people who go a bit too far on the RP side of it, but it's not that big of a deal in my eyes.
yeah, I can exactly see what you mean. I think yeah, you've outlined it quite well. People tend to overcomplicate it, and I think a lot of time what is intimidating for the people of time is the almost Bible length of rules that is present there. You want to join a server, and then you get hit with whitelist, and you're like, I don't want to do whitelist. I want to play, And then you gotta read the rules, and suddenly it's 20 pages of some gulag and stuff. And unless you are really passionate about the thing they are going for, like the niche stuff, I don't think I can see the element of intimidation for a lot of people.
But one of DayZ's most beloved content creators um, was a classic RPer, and that's Mr. Moon. For those who remember him, he was all about that, and he's one of the most beloved people. I don't understand the animosity towards it. He's more for me, Helkiana. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, it's like Rust. I tried Rust, but I don't like playing it, but I love watching it. And I appreciate that it's its own game. RP is a bit the same for me. I'm not good at it. I personally do find it a little bit cringy, kind of. Oh yeah, okay, because some people, seem to go full R word on it. But yeah, it's a bizarre little area, isn't it, Helgiana?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like there's a server for everyone,
Yep.
and people should just try to find that instead of like trying to change the server too much
Yeah.
into the direction they want. Like, I don't understand how people can play PvE and just have like a million guns every step of the way. Like for me, it just kind of takes away from the game. But instead of just going there and be like, "Hey, no, I don't like this," make it hardcore. Suggestions here and there is okay, definitely. Always do suggestions and new ideas for servers. Like, don't try to change like the whole idea of the server.
So what's the setup that you found works well for you, Lappa?
I think just like Hilkiana said, you need to find the the right server for you. Almost like if you were to find the right partner for your life, you get burned a few times and eventually you settle. And this is actually what happened, for me. I've known that I've been burned, but I did change a couple of servers. Eventually, work my way to the project I'm actually currently working on. But I think I spent on our server over 4,000 hours. That's kind of the commitment you need to go for in
Wow.
DayZ, I think.
And it is something as well. It is for, you know, as much as this word gets misused a lot, but this is a great example of it. RP is definitely for the more hardcore DayZ players, well, DayZ RP at least. And there's many variants of it. And one of the ones that you've been doing, Lappa, is the Stalker style stuff. So for those who don't know, can you run us through what that entails?
Right. So once upon a time in Eastern Europe, there's been like a upcoming game which was very hyped. It's called Stalker. The first installment was Shadow of Chernobyl. It was supposed to be a big breaking game, at the same time. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but Crysis was big at the time, 2007 and these times. And Stalker was supposed to be like the best next thing. And it kind of was, but mostly for our, the Eastern or Central European, as my, kindred Czech people like to say. It was the big thing for us. And yeah, eventually, once the game industry evolves and suddenly you are not satisfied with just first person games, I mean, single player games and all that, and you want to share that and enjoy that experience with others, and suddenly there's like people trying to recreate that experience in other games. I've seen people do it in Arma. I've seen people do it in Minecraft. There's actually, Minecraft, like a game that has Minecraft aesthetic, and it's Stalker. It's actually free. I didn't spend too much time on it, but it's crazy how like the dedicated the community to this game is. And even for me, when I first started, I wasn't really interested, in Stalker. Like, what the hell, Stalker? Why should I care? I just noticed like this old game from 2007. Why does it have so much big following? And that's I got basically talked into playing on our server, and ever since, yeah, ever since I've been hooked. I've trying to become the lore master. I've been studying every wiki and all the speculation videos, the stalker community, especially the modding community, not just in DayZ, but in general, is so massive. There's so many stalker motivated mod projects.
Mm-hmm.
So the most famous one is Stalker Anomaly, and which there's like a build on that. There's another mod, or maybe mod pack is better way to call it. That's Stalker Gamma. A lot of popular YouTubers and content creators have made great videos about this game, and suddenly from what was once upon a time a cult following has become a massive hit. And with the upcoming Stalker 2 um, game coming soon, I don't think I think we are at the golden age of Stalker enjoyment.
And they seem fairly friendly towards people modding their IP and utilizing it on other platforms. Is the vibe I get? Is that right?
Oh, exactly. You've hit the nail spot on. They actually, not sure when, but it's been quite some time, but they released all the assets from the first three games. They released them for free and everyone can use them. Not sure if they can use them commercially, but they can use them. Well, you can
Not
do pretty
commercially,
much.
no.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome. That's awesome that they do that. Go, Helkiana.
well, it's just because like Namalsk also uses some of the Stalker assets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one big reason why Samrak has put Namalsk that you cannot uh use the mod and make money on your server.
Yeah, I
Because
think
that's what a lot of people don't realize is, you know, you can still use something, but in some cases, there are some cases where they won't even let you use their content, regardless of whether it's for profit or not, because technically they own the IP to it and the copyright. But yeah, it's great to see a game that realizes that it has a passionate community that not always are playing their game. Because from what I understand, I've never played them, but they're campaign games, aren't they? They're not open world sandbox like DayZ. So
No,
it's a
Yeah, they're
smart
very
move.
old as well.
oh, they're old, but I think that's why mods come in. You know, you can mod it pretty much to the way you want it to be. The graphics on the mod packs I've mentioned, that are quite recent, are actually they're looking great with all the new shaders, and people keep releasing mods all the time, and so basically the game grows or basically lives in real time, so to say. But yeah, the original games, they were supposed to be open world, basically like DayZ, but then the limitation of the era and stuff, so they had to cut it down to levels. But the Stalker Anomaly, which is the most common mod right now, and Gamma, which is built on top of it, you could call it open world. But for the reasons of the mainly for the engine, you have to lock it down between levels. But otherwise, it's pretty much open world.
It seems like it translates really well for DayZ. The games are, you know, almost like crackers and cheese. They just go together perfectly.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, actually, I think I have a there's a quite kind of funny thing going on later with the stalker community. Uh, I actually noticed, which is quite funny, and that the stalker community uses a lot of Daisy assets. And I know that Bohemia Interactive is quite stingy about people using their assets, but it doesn't stop them, you know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
It is quite funny how BI are with some of the assets, but they've obviously got a reason. So end of the day, you might not like it. You can voice your opinion, but it's
It's their
their house,
stuff.
their rules.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh, does
much
that
like
help, Yana?
uh, yep.
Yeah, it's just that it's their stuff, right? They have the rights to it.
Yeah. Go Lapper.
Obvi- yeah, obviously. Yeah, I just wanted to lay down how we borrow stuff from them and they borrow stuff from us. That's just kind of find it quite a bit funny. But
I
yeah,
personally think that's the best way to go about it. Like you said, because it's provided it's done within the rules and everything like that. It's positive. You look at companies like Nintendo, which are just absolutely notorious for cracking down on anything, and they're not very well beloved. Some of their intellectual property is beloved, but they just make it so hard that they turn a lot of people off. Whereas I personally think this approach is the best way to go, Lapper.
yeah, I think I don't want to like comment on it too much because you have to at some point you have to like take a side, and that might be a it might get a bit heated, so to say. But yeah, I think that approach is, at least in the terms of modding, it's like it's really, it allows the community to push the boundaries forward.
What's been some of the issues with like developing and maintaining your own DayZ Stalker themed server?
Oh, so there's obviously a lot of stuff to go about. The Our server or our project is, I think, 3 or 4 years old as of now. But one of the first issues that I just so to clarify, while I am quite involved in the project right now, I have joined the project over 1 year ago, so I wasn't there for most of the time. But since a lot of the old timers in our project have been involved for a bit, I'm more of a I'm more Dave. Their energy came down, and I came back to supply them with my energy and my passion for the game and for the project. But for to continue to what you said, there have been a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome. One of the first one is that we are obviously not the first and the last people to do Stalker, oriented stuff. And we do first, when you want to start a server, and especially a thematic server, the first thing you want to do is go to workshop and see what mods are there for me. How can I build my server? And At the time, we were using a lot of these publicly available mods, but what eventually happened is that uh, other servers have noticed that the best way to maintain, let's say, our superiority over others is just not to let them have these mods. So one of the first reasons why we started developing our own stuff was that eventually all these publicly available mods pretty much disappeared from workshop back when there was pretty much nothing.
Is there much drama between the different stalker communities in DayZ? Like, is there a bit of a we all love it? Let's all work together. Try to because that's ultimately what I love. I'm a bit of a socialist in that sort of aspect of it. I love it when people work together for the common good. But I know that's not the reality. Is there issues there?
I don't think. I mean, I would love for it to be the way where everyone supports each other, but I don't think there's any actual animosity between like other servers, because most people, for you to have a successful server, or server that is able to support itself, you need to be targeting a certain audience, and it's just the way to go about it. You can be the most popular one, or you can have your niche. For us, is especially our Czech and Slovak community, and sometimes there's actually a lot of international people who perhaps prefer some of the ways we do our thing, our stalker oriented server over others. But yeah, a lot of the servers that are going on, it's mostly about targeting the right audience. So I think there's some sort of help. You know, once a while, people push the technology forward for what's available.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah,
It excites me every time
yeah,
I see something new, Lapper.
exactly. And you push the technology forward to the boundaries of what's possible, and it unlocks so many options. But what usually happens is that, yeah, you want to keep your the what you call like ace hidden between your fingers, and eventually it gets out. It just it gets out. People, other people get it, and but you get the head start. You get the head start of having something special, and so it's sort of like I wouldn't like friendly competition. It's there's no animosity. There is some sort of cooperation, because as we said, we target different audiences, so we are not exactly stealing people from each other. But yeah, it's like it's mixed, I say.
I sorry, I got derailed. I just want to quickly say, Offset, thank you so much, mate. Really do appreciate that. Also, everyone, we do have the Powley link as well. If you want to show some support directly to the people behind the show, Helkiana, Cobra, Foxy, Connor, and all the rest of it, you can make a donation using that link, and it gets spread up equally between all of us who are part of the show. But yeah, I think the first ever mod that Mario made using his new anime techniques that I saw publicly was a stalker related one, wasn't it, Helkiana? That weird blob creature that did that big power attack or something.
Yeah. I remember that. I think
Yeah, yep.
that was, yeah,
Because
for the
it's got a
Stalker server.
massive following even within the DayZ community because it just they go so well, don't they, Helkiana? The two games.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same genre of fantasy, I guess.
Yeah.
One is with some sort of virus, the other one is radiation that is causing these, and they do kind of go well together into forming some more realistic version of what it could be. This kind of like fantasy still,
Hmm.
but still realistic. Because the radiation, it can really affect animals, like in all
Yeah.
kinds of ways, and plants. Um,
If you find that
and
interesting, actually, Google or check on YouTube. There's a lot of really good videos about what's been happening around Chernobyl, IRL, with the
yeah,
animal population there, and it's not quite what they were expecting. But yeah, it's a good little rabbit hole to go down, isn't it, Helkiana? I'm guessing you've looked into that as well.
I did look into it once, and I watched like that Chernobyl movie or series. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it
Oh
was. It
God,
was really good.
heartbreaking, but such a good series.
Yeah.
Um, how easy is DayZ to do modding with? Because I saw that was something else you wanted to discuss, Lapper. Custom mutants animation and what DayZ does good and bad for Stalker. How does it work overall? Like for helping you achieve the goals that you try to.
So I don't think there's a good metric for me to establish how if it's good or bad because mainly because this is my first game I'm actually modding and Stalker is the only modding experience I ever have. Like I've branched out obviously, but I think that there are like most of the things are quite suitable from like most of the things in DayZ are quite suitable for stalker oriented games. There are some things that could be better obviously, and we have made like some tickets and some stuff is still yet to be discovered. But yeah, I think most of the stuff, like if you don't want to get fancy and you just want to have a functioning DayZ server that's with Starker Jekyll thematics, I think DayZ is like one of the perfect games for it. I think it's one of the main reasons why DayZ is pretty much I think the only game that has like a very stable Stalker bit.
It actually it does, and it's great to see. Like, what's been some of the best mods you've seen for the Stalker community?
So obviously the when the mod first comes out you're wowed and you want to praise the mod and eventually it gets no don't want to say all but eventually the wow factor dies off a bit so you don't want to say it that much but I think custom mutants which have custom skeletons are one of the big breakthroughs as of now which has allowed us to create so many wonderful ways to do mutants because some of the mutants one of them is called Snork, for example, which is a dude with a gas mask that pretty much pounces at you. If you remember Left 4 Dead, the game, there's a zombie called Hunter, which pretty much does the same. It pounces at you from distance. And before that, with if you want to use just the DayZ zombie skeleton or in the infected skeleton, it's actually quite hard to do with just that without it looking it super weird. So yeah, I think custom DayZ skeletons is or custom Stalker skeletons is pretty big thing. The other thing would be probably custom IK animations, which allowed us to do a lot of new weapons, which again would have looked really weird because you have to usually use the animations for existing DayZ weapons, and it wouldn't usually fit. So, for example, you want to make P90, but suddenly you have to reload the magazine, which sits on top. And how do you want to do that? You could like use maybe PP19 Bison, which is quite similar,
Yeah.
but then you run into a lot of a series of different problems, and allowing us to do this is very big deal. Other than that, I think the most stuff works really well. There's just so much stuff that you need to do for stalker server to work, like the radiation element, anomalies are basically like this stuff like glowing lights of fire or electricity that goes around the map and you need to make a whole system for it. So yeah, it's a lot of well crafted things that need to fit into each other to create a consolidated well working product. So I
What's
think
the biggest area of challenge for you, though? Like to make it more authentic as a Stalker feel.
as of now, like you can have great weapons, you can have great mutants, you can have great anomalies and everything and all that fluff around it, but the game simply doesn't work if your economy doesn't work. If the gameplay loop mainly, if people have great guns and great mutants to fight, but they do it for a week, for two, for three, and then it's all rinse and repeat, and eventually they'll get burned out. So you need to have some sort of long-term vision. Are you gonna do wipe-based economy where you're gonna plan economy for the next 6 months, maybe? Do you want to do like a self-sustaining economy which has its own sinks and the valves to tune the economy? I think that's like the big question. Or you can maybe enhance it with quests. That's actually one of the big things that's been coming. A lot of mods do it. Some do it a bit better, but having quests increases the experience really well. So yeah,
The
I
the
think
loot table is so important
yeah.
for anything, whether it be Stalker or just a normal map, isn't it, Helkiana?
Yeah.
But now that you mention it, I think one of the like you can do Stalker map, uh, like on other maps, but Stalker map is like the bread and butter. Without the map, you cannot pretty much go for like more authentic Stalker feels. So I think the having a correct map or just map at all is where you want to start for having
Well,
a
you've got some
great.
footage you wanted to share with us, and images in that, haven't you? So people can get a feel of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can show some. I'm actually in the game right now on my test server. I can show some of the stuff, but
Yeah.
let me just turn it right here. I'm gonna talk about some other stuff in the meantime. So lately we have been experimenting with post-processing effects in DayZ. Pretty much means what you see on your screen when something happens, and it allows you to do very different stuff. Like one of the most common things. Let me just share my screen just to make sure. Right. So this is my DayZ. Just let me know if you can see it correctly.
Yep.
All right. So this is my character. This is one of the models that we have imported in the game. It's called. It's basically a Stalker version of the Fallout Power Armor. Uh, as of now, it's just clothing. It doesn't really have any specific use, but eventually what it's gonna do is we're gonna change the step sound because it's a heavy, it's bulky, so every
Wait,
step
what
is
was
gonna
that over
be.
there to the left? Sorry. Like a little hatch.
Exactly, it's one of the. So right now, for all the Stalker fans, I'm located in the Rookie Village in a location called Cardon, and it's actually the very first location in Stalker series. It's
So
like
is
the
this a
most.
whole custom map made from
Yeah,
scratch?
exactly. It's a whole custom
Wow.
map. Right now we are using, or right now I'm using here. It's called DayZ map. They have made a public version for people to use. We are using the public version, uh, and it's a huge map with a lot to offer. Sometimes you can see there's interesting ways to solve certain aspects of DayZ limitations.
Mm.
So as you may know, Daisy doesn't really know how to do tunnels. That's like the big thing. So how
It's
would
the
you
most
deal?
frustrating thing for
Yeah.
me
So
is
how would
that
you
because
deal?
it's so obvious.
Yeah. How would you deal with this? They pretty much instead of making a tunnel, you make ground with it. So if you go down, it's just a huge hole with dirt covering it up, and there's a bunker. And yeah, as you mentioned, or as I've said, this bunker is the very first thing you see when you start up your stalker game. A fat guy selling overcosted stuff and buying stuff dirt cheap from you is sitting there scalping you for your life. Sidorovich, the fat trader. And yeah, so this is the stalker map. It's very huge. I can pretty much go over the entire map and um, if I can. I'm not really experienced with these tools I'm using right now, but if I pick up the map, it's yeah, it's I don't exactly see here, but it's very huge. It's about 10 to 10 kilometers, and they're still expanding. It's not finished at all. There's various maps right now that there are ongoing projects. Most I think the earliest one is Area of Decay. This is the Day Zone. There's a great map coming up right now. It's called Seaver Zone. It has very passionate developers completely redoing everything from start. So I'm really excited about that. But this is the map. So I was talking earlier about the post-processing effects. So what do they do? So you know how when you get cut in DayZ, you see some stuff around your screen, right?
Yep.
That's the post-processing effect for this. Here I'm using actually a mod called as visual. It's part of the Simonovic's great mods, really great mods. You need to check them out as gunplay, as visual, and based on the S framework. And it allows you to do some really crazy stuff with everything. And one of them is is these post processing effects. And if I turn tonight, like I mean, you can do this stuff obviously without as visual. It just makes it a lot easier and allows you to do certain stuff. So have prepared some injectors. We are trying to redo the medical system that we use currently, and DayZ has a lot of stimulants and medical stuff to combat you various elements that you encounter on your way. There's radiation, there's this sort of psychic damage that hurts you. There's these anomalies, which are like elemental based attacks that you have to suffer. And there's various ways to combat these elements that you encounter. And these injectors are the first thing. So one of the first things you want to do when you do your DayZ medicaments is deciding to how exactly you want to do that. Compared to other stuff in DayZ, this medical system is quite in depth, like very interesting. They use the like the agent system, which basically counts how many or bad guys you have in your system that provide some effects. So that's why I don't think a lot of people appreciate like how complex the system might be. For example, I don't think a lot of people know that how actually illnesses work in DayZ. So when you get sick, in vanilla, you get like cholera. So how do you treat it? Like what's all the conditions? There's so much stuff you can do with it. It's crazy, and I have decided to implement the system for these as well. So basically, every time you I'm gonna use this NV serum I've prepared. It's just a basic injector that allows me to guess what, see at night. Now, the left bottom you can
Axe.
see the
He's a hacker. Ban him.
yeah, right. Well, in the left bottom corner you can see the countdown. It's basically just my own way to confirm how many agents I have in my bloodstream. So and there's the interesting part you can do with it. It's not just that you have like 300 agents and it goes down one by one and whatever. Now you can do interesting stuff with that, because if I take another one, guess what happens? Oh no, you've overdosed. Now what? You get actually see nothing at all because you overdosed and you're
Actually
pretty
quite
junky.
clever.
Yeah. So I have implemented these effects called cold turkey modifiers. It's basically just my own like nomenclature, but if you overdo stuff, you're gonna get punished for it. And it's a way to try to combat like basically just min max and everything. And we wanted to keep it this way. So if I want to get rid of it, I have prepared another one. It's called the diclofenac sodium, which is a way if you get cold turkey from anything, this should deal with it. I'm not sure right now if I have it actually implemented. Let's see if I've done it. Yeah, it happens. So as you can see, there's some like very interesting stuff you can do with it. I have this anabolic steroids. It was the first one, AMS anabolic Mark II. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah. So this is a stim which basically puts you in rage, and then you see red.
Oh, I like that.
And yeah, I'm gonna just turn the day on so you can see it better. But yeah, it allows you to do a lot of different stuff. You can see my health is going up quickly. My stamina is going is quickly refreshing. Uh, it's this effect is actually overriding another post processing effect, which is the black vignette you get when you get shock damage. So it's overriding that. And if I go to player, you can see my shock is at 0. Wow, why is it 0? Because while you have this effect, you cannot go unconscious. So it's basically the last resort, because now if my agents fall down and I get the cold turkey, because this is supposed to be have effect, I get, guess what? Wait, where do I do it? I'm just gonna. We can actually just wait. I'm gonna talk. And once it's gonna drop below 890, it should be there. But this is like the very small fragment of what Stalker modding is. This is like the very smallest thing. This is the stuff you do like in your spare time, and if you just wanna basically the cherry on top. Because this wouldn't allow you to have a Stalker RP server. It's building on, let's say, like on the shoulders of giants. Everything that has been done before, you cannot do it without this. And as of now, I'm basically just expanding what has been already built. So now I'm getting to 900, and I should soon drop down Yeah.
I like this. This
So
this is actually quite impressive to me.
yeah, this is one way to go about it. Yeah. Now it goes out. You go unconscious, and now if I wake up, you get this super annoying effect. It's called cold turkey, and for the next 10 minutes, you're gonna groan, you're gonna get damaged, and get this, this radial blur and this white overlay. This is obviously everything of this. All of these are still, work in progress stuff.
Yep.
It's still
So
not
it's
even
risk
in our
versus
server.
reward. I like that when it comes to things that are a bit OP, and yeah, you can do it, but there's a risk at the end of it that if you don't get everything done you need to while that's in effect, I like this sort of stuff, and it looks quite visually appeasing as well, Alkiana.
Yeah, I mean that some of those effects for me they can be a bit overbearing sometimes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Like,
obviously it's not for
but
everyone, and
yeah, it's just that
it's
if it's like just like a little bit, because you did something and it goes away, it's fine. But it's like kind of know in Tarkov, it tends to like give you this effect for like 20 minutes, and
yeah,
that just fucks with my eyes. So
and
yeah. I
20
can
minutes
I
seems
can
a
I can see
bit
that.
long.
These example I've provided you with are obviously like the on the extreme of what we're doing. The most common effect was just like healing, which pretty much just, I think it's not even visible here, but what it does is it just provides you with this relief modifier I've created, and it just, I don't think it's even notable. You just get a little bit of such, yeah, it's like blue tint, and that's it, you know. So most of the time it's like this, but these modifiers, it's not just that you can use it for. One of the greatest things that we want to use it for is actually when you approach radiation or you approach these anomalies like these fire things and like freezing traps or whatever electrical anomalies or this biological pool of mess, you get also this effect. It's not implemented right now, it's still in the very early like conceptual stage, but we want to do it so when you go into irradiated zone you get this film grain, the sepia filter, and all that kind of stuff. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing.
I
Yeah,
love
so
it.
this
I
is,
really do. And this is also showcasing. I'm imagining you've got some custom assets, some stalker assets, but
oh yeah.
they seem to go quite well together. Visually, this little starter town is quite
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Yeah, it's I think one of the thing that plays into the cards of Stalker is just it's the same aesthetic, I'm not same, but very similar. It's like the post-Soviet, apocalyptic style, desolate houses, and um, yeah, I think it fits a lot. I think they actually use a lot of vanilla sets here, and it works quite well. It really blends well together. In the earlier stages, I think before any maps were at least public, because a lot of these maps have to like go through how to say, like a crowdfunding to allow them to go public, because the authors can be, they have their own projects to fund, and it's a way to, they can help each other. And yeah, so when these projects go live for everyone else, it's usually a very big thing. And um, yeah, there are obviously some stuff where you can see like, oh yeah, this is made by someone who is not exactly, it was done as a passion project, and you can see it on the map. And but it's still very high quality work, and we like to use it. We have been switching quite a lot of maps. This is our third map. First we were using the Malsk, as Helkiana said. It has like a lot of that feel of Stalker at Sumark based it on, and also use some of the assets. And a lot of the mechanics of the Malsk are actually Stalker inspired. For example, the EVR, it, it's also here. It's
yeah.
called Emission, and yeah, or the Gauss gun, or uh, some of the
Did you
mutants that you encounter.
did you
Yeah,
encounter any issues in like wanting to use a mod, but then you find out that it's a paid one? Because I
yeah.
know a lot of the stalker ones tend to be paid mods.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop the sharing for now. Yeah, so this is the the big thing. Like obviously, let's not beat around the bush, so to say. Stalker is very competitive in mods, as I mentioned earlier, and some of the mods are, how to call it correctly, financially appreciated. And it's a pain a lot of the times, because some people say, you have to pay for quality stuff. It allows me to keep doing it, and it's obviously understandable. We also, while our server is not monetized, there's option for people to donate some small cash for us, because the server hosting and everything it's quite expensive. It can get quite expensive, and these donations can help quite a bit. We all obviously don't force anyone to do it, and there's no incentive to do it. Actually, I don't think you get anything special for it. It's just we have a passionate group of people who enjoy our server, and uh, everyone does it in our free time. uh, so
I
yeah,
just
some
imagine though the Stalker having such a loyal, passionate community, it is potentially open to, let's say, some of the less scrupulous operators to milk it for as much as they can.
oh yeah.
Any server can be a money pit depending on how far you want to go for it. But yeah, when you've got an existing law and something like that, yeah, I can imagine that. Be careful, people who you go to for your mods.
Yeah, it's as you said, it's a thing. I don't think it's going away. I don't want to comment on it too much if I think it's correct or not. It's just the way it is. And
Yep.
if you want to be in the Stalker, modding community, or even the server owners community, you just have to live with that, and make the best out of it, so to say. So yes, there are some mods which I think are paid. I don't think we're using any right now. I don't want to lie. So I'm not sure, but a lot of the times what people like to do is, especially in the modding community that I've been more familiar with, is that instead of financially appreciating something, you just I'm gonna do this for you, you're gonna do this for me, let's help each other out. You're good at doing this, you're good at doing this, and
Yeah.
it's like how to say it, killing two birds with one stone. Yeah, it helps everyone, and obviously it would be better if it were for the public, but again, then it's like it's hard to play on even playing field with everyone else if you want to do it by the book,
Yep.
like for on the workshop. And I think that's especially for Stalker, it's really true. Yeah.
And if you put stuff out there for free, like Dinos was chatting with me about how often he has to copyright strike people ripping his mods, and his
Oh
mods
yeah,
are paid.
that's
But the free stuff, there'll always be some scumbag out there who rips it Helkiana and then tries to sell it.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, this has happened to me as well. Some guys took my mods, the base coding, and they were selling it. Or they were like, "Oh, I'm doing a commission," but they were like just using my code. Uh, so
Wow.
I've had to do some strikes here and there.
Some people will do anything to make a buck. That's one thing I've learned, and it's never going to change. People will always people. Some people are just unethical like that. So again, if you've got any doubts, questions, queries, dramas, problems, or otherwise with who to use, reach out to people who you trust in the community. Helkiana, Winstride. And ask their opinion on that. Winstride is quite an expensive modder, but he's got a reason why, because he's in high demand, and he, for the most part, I've never heard anyone complain. Makes high quality stuff, so you can roll the dice and go to someone who you've never heard of and potentially be buying ripped items, or you can go to the better ones out there, because at the end of the day, I doubt anyone here watching it, but people love to clip stuff and take it out of context. I'm not saying modders shouldn't be able to make money. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm completely on the other side. If a modder can come up with a great way to monetize what they do, I'm all for that. But you've got to be careful, because there's some unethical people out there who you may think are good, but they're using stolen code and stuff like that. So if you've got any doubts, reach out and ask someone who you trust in the community. There's people who are completely against that. They think everything should be free. No, it's a commercial market. You get what you pay for. And there are some high quality free stuff mods out there from people who purely do it because of the passion for it. But don't be afraid to pay as well, especially if you're after custom stuff. If you want custom stuff that's only yours, either learn the skills or get your wallet out and pay what is a fair price for it. But yeah. Right, we've got to move on a bit. I'm actually really impressed with that stuff, Lappa. I haven't played on a Stalker server, so I'm going to have to try and find one to. Visually, it's so beautiful. And
wait till you meet the monsters. I have a feeling, Boydie, you're going to be cowering in the corner and screaming.
I probably will, mate. I'll get scared by bloody chickens jumping out of bushes at me. But yeah, no, that's awesome, Lappa. I'm very, very glad. Thank you, Hunter, for referring Lappa to have a chat, because yeah, that's some very, very beautiful looking stuff and some very interesting techniques in that there. So, but we need to talk about the 1.25 stream. Did you watch it, Lappa?
I did, yeah. A lot of crashes are ever happening on the stream. It's obviously part of what makes DayZ great, But
I don't think that was so much the server. I think that was more their streaming software or whatever. Helkiana. It was, it was a bit painful to watch at times, wasn't it?
I didn't manage to catch it live because I was working. I was very, very busy this week, so I couldn't even dip out a little bit.
But you probably heard all about it.
But then, I went on Twitter and I saw Mark's making a funny comment about it, and I was like, "What happened?" So I went to Twitch, and I was like, there were like 3 streams, like one 25 minutes, one like 20 minutes, one was like a couple seconds, and what happened? And then I saw the gun.
Yep. We didn't get any indication that I'm aware of what caliber it was. Have you heard anything, Lappa or Helkiana?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I think
there was a lot of conjecture as to what the caliber of that rifle was going to be, whether they were going to introduce a new one, which I don't think they would.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna. Sorry, go on, Lappa.
Okay, sorry. I think just the Reddit detectives did their job, and it looks to be SV98 in the Mosin, caliber basically.
Yep. Which is good because we've got the Mosin, we've got the SVD, and off the top of my head, that's it. In that big caliber. So,
Well, we have the Tundra on 308.
But I was talking about like the 762 by 54.
B95, I think it's called.
And 308, and then you got the FAL as well, and the DMR,
also the Safari,
and the Longhorn as well.
And there's a lot of 308 options, but not so many from 762 by 54R.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the music though? Because that ties into a bit to the ambience and all the rest of it. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the idea. I mean, people can just turn it off if they don't like it. I enjoyed it a lot when I was playing No Mask. The different time of day music. It had like a different feeling, and I was like, oh, it's morning, and it just like different zones had different songs, but because they weren't overbearing, at least in No Mask. And I know Samrak would not allow that to be in the main game either, like overbearing songs. He would make sure that there'll be fitting songs.
The scope was interesting. I did see a lot of people talk and hoping that we were going to get a good long range scope for the 762 by 54 weapons, but all they showed it with was an ACOG.
Yeah, it might have both, so you can run it a bit like smaller range as well. But
they like to keep things up their sleeve, Helkiana, which a lot of people were. I was hoping it was going to be, but it's like it may still be. They do like to surprise us with stuff that I'm being generous. I know some people like to say that they just forget or something like that. I like to think, and I've been told that they do like to surprise us at times. So you may find that there is a new longer range scope that's custom to that weapon or something like that. But don't rule it out just yet. What do you think, Helkiana?
Yeah, I think there might still be a chance for it to be just like different options. Because a lot of the guns they tend to only have like the one scope, like the longer range one. You can't have other options. And it kind of sucks when you have this ACOG in your in your pockets, right? And then you just never find the hunting scope, so you can't use that
Yep.
sniper. So I like the idea of having multiple compatible scopes. And I think there was like a mod advanced scopes. I don't remember
Yes. Yep.
exactly. And then you could like combine with like different rails and
Yeah.
stuff. I really love
With the
that.
rails, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that mod. That is one of my favorite gun mods. I'm not a big gun person in DayZ. I'm more about the looting and the survival side of it. But I love that one because you can, if you find that rail, most of the servers I played on, I think it's far too common. But it's a great item, maybe make it tier 4 loot or something like that, rare. And when you get one, it's like, oh, great, I can put any scope on a AK series rifle now or on the Picatinny rail ones. And yeah, it's just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. To be honest, like with the 125, because they did a stream on Wednesday, I was kind of expecting the experimental to hit on Thursday,
Yeah.
but it
Lappa,
didn't
did that
happen.
surprise you?
Actually, quite a bit, but I think they did mention during the stream that some of the stuff for the experimental is going to roll out at different times. Not everything is going to be there on the first patch, so that might be something contributing to it.
Yeah, I think I watched Mark's video. Usually I just go to Mark's videos to see like the summary of these streams because I don't have the time to watch the whole thing. And then like Mark's just like summarizes it nicely. And I think he did say something about that as well. That there's gonna be like I think the music is not gonna be in at the beginning and it's gonna be like halfway
Yeah.
through.
Sorry, I have to address something. IDK Can Zero, thank you so much. There are no other DayZ podcasts. There is only one. Okay. Now, I love all the other DayZ podcasts. There's some really good ones out there. Um, the more people covering this amazing game and genre, the better. So I'm guessing it was probably either Survival Sisters or Friendlies or State of Survival, but whoever it was, thank you for recommending us. And I recommend going and checking out any of those as well. They're all good shows. They all do something a bit different, but yeah, I do agree, Stephen, that they do need more optics options. And again, I've talked about it. But every week we've got new people on the show, so I'm going to cover it again. I love that idea that they kind of hinted at when they removed the long range scope with the Mosin. And Brian Hicks said, "I wish I had the clip, but I was still a bit of a noob at all this streaming and recording stuff back then." But he said that it's not going to be as easy as just slapping a long range scope or a hunting scope onto a Mosin anymore, which made me think that there was going to be some way you could modify a weapon, whether you're taking it to a workshop or finding an item such as those rails, and be able to do it. But we've never seen that implemented in official. On modded, yeah, you can find them everywhere. But I like that. And yes, a Mosin with a long range scope is very OP because it's the biggest caliber weapon in the game. But I like variety. Variety is the spice of life. But yeah. But overall, it was another decent update that looks like it's coming. Not quite as meaty as some of them have been, but they keep on hinting about this 1.26 and this year being the biggest year for DayZ ever. So if they're working on something massive, that means less resources for the next patch. So don't jump up and down and lose your shit just because this one's not the biggest patch you've ever seen. Think of the big picture. The game's 10 years old and they're still developing and releasing new stuff. I don't think you can ask for much more from a game that most of us bought for probably around $40, $50 tops. Good value for me.
Yeah, and I think they haven't shown everything in that stream anyway. They do tend to like leave a couple things for when
Yep.
the experimental drops. So I think we're gonna see a couple more things new when it actually goes live, but we'll see.
Jump
It
into
will
our
still be
Discord.
small.
Jump into our Discord, discord.gg/878 Survivor FM. There's we've got a channel in there which is just a thread that you can follow, and pretty much everyone in there is pretty good about not just dumping stuff onto the main threads that spoils it for everyone. They generally seem to just put it into that thread, and if it's something really big, they'll usually hide it behind a spoiler image as well, so you can choose to have upcoming stuff spoiled. But yeah, the data miners are everywhere, aren't they, Lapper? Always the Reddit detectives,
Oh
as you
yeah.
called them.
Oh
Always
yeah, exactly.
but I like that.
You
You know, it shows
no,
people a
it's
passion.
exactly. I think calling it data mining is such a has such an ugly ring to it. It's more like passionate people, discovering stuff and speculating
Yep.
and everything. I remember that Daisy has put a picture which had only the very top of the gun visible on its back, on the back of the guy, and suddenly everyone exactly knew what kind of gun it is. And yeah, but I think the patch is a bit smaller. I think it's always the first patch of the year is a bit more like behind the curtain stuff to do. A lot of the groundwork laid out for the later patches, and which are usually the biggest.
Yep. Anyway, I'm excited for it. Let's see what comes from it. Quick shield segment, folks. Lid Hosting. We're an affiliate with them, partner with them. Check them out if you're looking for. If you're looking into starting a DayZ server and you're in the EU, you can go the option of buying a Dedi server, which is going to set you back a lot of money, a very steep learning curve, and if you want to do that, go for it. But if you want to just dip your toes into the water, I cannot recommend Lid Hosting enough, folks. I'm going to share their stuff in the chats now for you. But they have some absolutely awesome ways that they do it. It's basically on shared servers, so you can check out whether your server idea is going to be viable. And they're one of the best operators, run by an actual DayZ player who understands modding and what is required. And should you ever decide that you are going to move over to a Dedi, that's one of the things they do is they'll help you get everything ready to do that. Because they don't do Dedis themselves. They're more just dealing with the shared servers for people who don't have the hundreds of dollars spare. That running a Dedi is a lot of time and effort, isn't it, Helkiana?
Um, I don't know if I should comment on that. um, a dedicated server can be very expensive, but if you watch the offers, you can get some good stuff.
Of course, yeah.
And it is a little bit like, well, people say it's a lot of work, but it's not really like, because we have like Omega Manager. You just install it and it has a panel and you create as many DayZ servers as you want, and then you set them up the same way you
You're
do it
looking at it
on
from
Western.
your God tier intellect perspective. I'm using Amiga Manager now, and it's still, I literally have no idea what half the stuff in there does. But when I go to the interface of something like my Lid Hosting server, it is literally step-by-step guide easy. It's basic pitch level, which is what I need. So if you don't have a high level of IT understanding, I would recommend dabbling with something like a shared hosting provider, Lid Hosting, or there are other ones out there. And then as you improve, or if you are just passionate, go for a Dedi server. Dedis are always the best, but it's a bit of a steep learning curve at first. But yeah. So, and if you're not sure whether you're going to stick with it as well, it's a big expense to get a Dedi for something that if you don't stick with it and stay on top of it, yeah. But Amiga Manager is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I have my beef with it, because it doesn't update immediately the mods and in the list, and people are like, "Where is the mod?" And I'm like, "It's there. Just give it a minute." um, but yeah, I mean, I pay for my dedicated server now, which is hosted in UK, £58 a month. It
Yep.
has 64 gigabytes of RAM, The CPU is a little bit on the lower side, but it can still be pretty good if it's needed. Like, no, I had no issues with it ever because I do use it to host other games as well when needed. Um, I
Look
did
around,
get that on
people.
an offer on it was like on Black Friday. Yeah,
Yep.
on Black Friday I got the offer. Um, but yeah, I mean, I always said with people, even with the other hosters, like the shitty ones. Like I had issues
Hmm.
when so many people praise GTX gaming, but like I had such bad experience with it. um,
And on the flip
but I'm
side, so
like,
many people bag Nitrado, but one of the guys I
yeah,
love the most in the DayZ community swears by them, and that's Scale Speeder. So it all comes down to your own personal experience, doesn't it, Helkiana?
yeah, it depends, yeah, on how much you do and what you do with it. So for the first, like I would say, first 3 months while you're playing around and stuff, it's perfectly fine to go for like a small amount of slots on one of those hosters as well.
Yep. Test things out, see how it works, and go from there. But that's enough shilling for this
Yes.
week. Lid Hosting, check them out. I'll share those links once again for you all. But now something was being had DayZ Twitter all in a tither. The great map maker debate. Did you see this, Helkiana?
Uh, yeah, I saw it. It was interesting when I saw it. I didn't really know what to make of that comment. Like, I understood it where it came from. Like, totally understood it. Obviously, people like took it a bit the wrong way, so it kind of sparked. So I don't know. Everyone was right in their own way when they were commenting on it, I feel. But I feel like they also were also like talking about different things. They were actually like connecting their
Yeah.
replies a little bit.
Did you see this, Lapper?
Not exactly the Twitter post or what exactly was it, but I am obviously aware of all these speculations
I've
regarding.
got it shared up on the screen now. So Beeks, who is part with the Hashima project, which is looking really, really good, in my opinion. But he put out a tweet basically saying, seems we are still in that era of shitting out half-assed maps in DayZ. It's basically a bad joke at this point. Take your time, make it right. Most importantly, adjust your loot tables. Now, it was... there's so much context to this whole thing that people just either didn't want to because it wouldn't suit their narrative, or they wanted to jump in and but you got to remember this was said on Twitter, so you straight away you're
Yeah.
hampered by how much you can say, aren't you, Helkiana?
Yeah.
You got a
Twitter is
character
always
limit.
like
What is it, 250 characters or something?
yeah.
But it's blunt, it's direct, but it's not
I
actually a
mean, it's not
bad take per
wrong.
se.
I mean, it's not really that wrong
No.
either.
And then
Obviously it might be a bit like you said, blunt, but it's definitely not wrong.
Luke doubled down on it and said, I do very much agree with Beaker on this. I'm sorry, but DayZ maps that get released now are so tiny and unfinished to the point I don't even want to call them a map yet. Dear map devs, take your time, build a bigger map and make it a fun map for people to play. Mark jumped in. Map creators do this so they can get the big creators playing it. I swear it's not actually about making a map anymore. Some just do it to try and get clout. That was probably the most controversial take on there. But again, Marx isn't wrong. Some people do things just for clout.
Yeah.
I
Exactly. I
get
agree with that
accused
as
of
well.
that all the time myself. So go, Helkiana.
Yeah, I agree with Marx as well. Like there are some out there that would just make these maps just because like they want to be seeing the bigger streamers, because like you see it often. Like some random map, it just like this one streamer starts playing on it. The whole category on Twitch changes.
Everyone's playing Takistan
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, because I was like this one streamer. It's interesting, but like yeah.
The point I came back with Lapper was I said, it like I more went in on just a few little things, but their points aren't bad. their points are correct in certain aspects, but I don't agree that it always needs to be a big map. Namolsk is a big map, and it's arguably the second most popular server. Well, I don't really think it is arguable. Namolsk is, the console community would literally orgasm if it ever did manage to get ported across. But, we talked earlier about why that can't happen, because it's using some Stalker assets. And there would have to be a massive licensing deal for that to ever happen. I would love to see it happen, but it's just a case of, make what you're passionate about, whether it be a big map, a Eastern European themed map, a Stalker themed map, a jungle map, a Fallout map. We've got that out there now, which is blowing me away with just how good some of that stuff looks. Questions regarding the copyright and IP, but that's between Dave and Bethesda and them. So at this point, it's still up and running. So that's great. But I don't quite get why it became such a. I know this is probably going to shock people. They're probably expecting us to come in here and, the DayZ drama cast. I still remember that. That was so funny the day they trolled us with that logo. But Lappa, what's your take on it, mate? Now that you've seen the things that are said.
Yes, I really see your point there. Like, it's true. It's not incorrect. I do remember the time when Takistan came out and everyone, oh yeah, it's Takistan, man. It's like new map finally. And then every time I turn on Twitch, there's always like the next new map, like locks, and I'm losing the track of all the new maps. And so there's definitely something like I don't follow the new maps, but as you said, there's a lot of new maps coming out, and they might be unpolished. I've not delved into that, but I can actually understand the other side as well. They may call it for cloud, but uh, making maps is really tedious. Really tedious in DayZ. I've been closely following the development, as I've said earlier, of one of the upcoming the Stalker map, and it's so tedious. I've been watching the man for past half a year, and it's just like maybe 5% of the map. So I can understand at some point, like being burnt out and wanting to release the map to get some hype and get some boost in confidence. But I think it goes both ways. So I can understand both points, but both from the user side and from the developer's standpoint. But yeah, it's just that making maps is so unrewarding. Like you come in with big passion, and it's not a thing that you get done in a month. It's not a thing you get done in 6 months, maybe. But it's usually
Look at the point that I just highlighted on the screen there, Lappa. We still find issues on Cherno. I think every other day you'll see someone like, and we like to meme Dance of Jesus in the podcast Discord when we find something that's broken. But it's a map. How many assets are there on Chernerus roughly, Helkiana? I'm hoping that you've got a rough idea of this.
I don't know. I think Dab might know that answer because he's been dealing.
But we're talking
with
thousands, aren't we?
Millions.
Yeah. So
like you have to count like the trees as well, right? Because like for example, I forgot the name. What's the name of that? But the map made by Matty Ice. The American
Bitterroot,
yeah. So I was playing Bitterroot and I kept like doing this like twitch thing, like and like aiming at a tree because like
with the rocks in them.
Because there's rocks in them, and I kept seeing it like something there, right in the corner of the screen, like corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh shit, there's someone, and it's like.
Do you know the story of that behind that?
Well, I know they're like.
It was a screw up. It was a screw up, but I actually spoke to him about it, and he said, overwhelmingly, people like it because of that reaction it gives you. So he's kind of left it deliberately because. Everyone, it keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? I've been playing it a lot, and I still like fucking rocks, and it's just it's kind of almost a bug that we love, an unintended game feature.
I can't say I love it. But I think when I played there was someone in my chat, and they were saying that it's because like obviously it's extremely hard to like place so many trees and do them perfectly fine. So he's been automating the process. So that's kind of the process got messed up a little bit. So he was putting rocks as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, with this whole drama, I think, because Running Manzi posted on it, um, because just kind of like let people do whatever, because they are doing these maps for free and stuff. I think that was his point. And I mean, I agree. Yeah, just people do whatever. And I'm sure like some of these maps do even have like a disclaimer, this is not a finished map, and people still play and they're like, oh, this thing is not ready. And I'm like, well, didn't you read the description?
I can't find his post. I think it must have been a reply or something. But yeah,
Yeah, it
it's
was a
pretty much.
reply um under Luke's post. But yeah, it was taken out of proportions a bit.
Big time. Big time. It's a case of, but end of the day, people are allowed to have an opinion, folks. If you don't agree with it, sure. But I think a lot of people were, well, we talked before about map makers doing stuff for clout. I think a lot of people just wanted to voice their opinion for clout as well. And, what do they say? Drama creates news and all the rest of it. So, yeah. But I do think it was really a mountain out of a molehill. The points were actually valid, not to everyone. And if you took offense at it, I'd say that says more about you as a person than it does about the people who made the comments. I like people sharing their opinions, even ones I don't agree with, because it generates a discussion, and a discussion is good. Scale Speeder's point there, though, is very important. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. If you're going to release something, make sure it's at a point that it still has some redeeming values. Because if it comes out and it's absolute dog shit, you'll be struggling to get people to come back and check it again. And that's on so many levels, not just the quality of it, but the way you do it as well. You were going to say something, Helk?
Yeah, sorry. I'm so tired and I want to not forget to say this thing. Um so I always say um whenever I see a new map and someone comes to my chat and they're like, "Oh, have you seen this new map for DayZ?" And I'm like, "Yeah, don't care for it." And they're like, "Why not? It's cool." It's like, and this like I think it was like the Scottish one. I saw a
You're a
little bit
map
of it.
phobe, Helkiana. You're a map phobe.
More like a snob actually. Cause like I just don't like seeing the Chernarus assets in like American or like
Yeah,
in other
I get it.
areas that they just don't match. I just I feel like I always said, I very much understand how much work it would be to make it completely unique. Like the money and the work is immense, but like I would rather just play Chernarus if it's gonna look the same. Like
Well, I'll be
it,
honest. Bitterroot for me is let down by the Soviet brutalist style apartment buildings. I would
yeah.
much rather see, because America has its own very distinctive style of ghetto apartment blocks and all the rest of it, which is sort of what those apartments are.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, because it's such a big feature on the map as well. The skyline, when you see those apartment blocks, and he's got some other buildings there. I really would like to see them gone, because they do detract them. But a lot of the other houses fit in okay, the small houses, but those apartment blocks, for me, no, they need to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen in the last playtest that he did add a lot of new buildings that look a bit more American and stuff. I did notice some issues with them because they weren't really finished, and like one big issue with buying houses as assets is that they don't have the right proportions. Um, so you
Which we
go
saw
to
on
the
Banov, didn't we?
stairs.
Banov was the first real encounter I had with that.
Yeah,
And even
yeah,
Takistan, some of those houses are janky. They're armor assets, aren't they?
yeah. Um, because Scale Speeder said that Pakistan is pretty unique, and I'm like, yeah, it's unique, but it's not like just DayZ, is it? um, because they took all the assets from Arma, right, for the Touchstone.
Hmm.
If I'm not wrong.
I love the oil pumps on Takistan. I love seeing them. I don't know why, but there's just something about them. It really adds the vibe for me. But yeah, but no, back to the map debate. You know, map makers, just keep doing your thing, but make sure you're releasing a polished product. If you're going to reuse assets, Lux is a map that needs more love. I hardly see anyone ever play it, and I haven't in a while. But it's got some amazing assets. Have you tried that one, Helkiana?
Sorry, which one?
Lux and Jungle Map.
Lux. No, I saw some streams of it and I didn't like the trees, and I was like, I'm not going on that map. They look very dark,
It
like
adds
very
to the
dark.
vibe, though.
Yeah, the thing is, I know how hard it is to get like jungle trees because I started working on assets for a jungle map I wanted to make. But I was really struggling with it, so I totally understand that because I was having issues as well, and it was making my trees dark.
If you like Lux and you've got a server in your area, tell them to go check out some of the animal assets. You can add tigers, you can add crocodiles now, add sharks in the water. You could really turn Lux into a good PVE map, if they PVE focused one. Because it's just bears and wolves. They kind of get a bit old after a while, and they wouldn't really fit in a jungle
Yeah.
environment. Although you can have sloth bears. They're quite well known for being in that sort of a climate in India. But yeah, it's Helkiana has gone massively. It's gone up massively, in my opinion, with her map snobbiness. Bravo. But no, it's not. I don't think it's map snobbiness. It's just you're pointing out as a professional in this area issues that you identify, and that's great. I agree with her, Lappa, that some of these maps that aren't going for the Eastern European theme need to. And again, it's a dream I have. But what do you think about that, Lappa? About reusing assets that don't really fit into the vibe of that?
No, exactly. It's pretty much just like Yana said. Not only the snobbiness, I think it's in my case it would be more like map fatigue. It's just so much new stuff. But yeah, you need to be mindful of how you use DayZ vanilla assets. It's obviously to have certain aesthetic. For Stalker, it works most cases. But if you're gonna make Fallout themed DayZ server, you cannot use generous assets. So yeah, you need to be mindful of what kind of project you're making, and if you want to create your own assets, good luck with that because that's the hard part of making maps.
Yeah. Expensive, and it's a fairly high skill set from what I understand as well. It's not an easy thing. It's not like reskinning, 3D modeling and meshing and all that sort of stuff. I know enough to get myself in trouble talking about it and appear as stupider than I am, no, smarter than I am. See, that's how stupid I am. I got that wrong. I think my camera's about to die. I'm starting to wig out a bit, but yeah. Okay. I think we've talked enough on that, but map makers, just keep doing what you do. We love you. Modders, keep doing what you do. We love you. If people don't like your stuff, they can give you some feedback. Take it constructively. And remember, when you do give feedback, don't just go, shit's fucked. Give some constructive feedback. Most good modders will love you for doing it, and be honest. Maybe Twitter's not the best forum for a post, but yeah. That's a good question there too. I wonder if at Arma Reforger modders will be allowed to port over Arma 3 assets. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Maybe when
Okay.
Arma 4 comes out.
Yeah. Do you have a mod or game spotlight this week, Helkiana?
Well, since we're talking about like this kind of like stalker vibe kind of thing, I do want to talk about a game which I'm not sure if you heard about. It's called Beautiful Light. I'll post the link uh in the chat for their Steam page. We don't know when this is going to come out, but they've been putting out some demos out there for creators as well. So it is an extraction shooter. 6 squads of 3 operators each. And you can also play as one of the monsters.
Ooh.
So there will be one player as the monster, which is always an interesting thing because it's very hard to balance it, for both sides. But yeah, they have a lot of those kind of stalker kind of anomaly vibes in the monsters they have. So I think that one is like their trailer. They do try to go for the more realistic look and very high quality. Did Boydie die?
No. Yeah, my stream couldn't handle that. My internet's pretty crap. It's Monday morning. My internet is suffering Monday-itis. It hasn't had the coffee yet. It almost killed my computer.
I mean, people have the link. They can just have a look. And if they like, maybe give it a wish list. Like I know it's an extraction shooter because like we don't have that many sandboxy kind of games, kind of like DayZ, actually coming out. There's one Gray Zone Warfare which I've been playing on Thursday. Which when I played it, I was like, this is kind of like the DayZ servers with trailers. You go in, you go back to the base, where it's like the trailer, you sell your stuff, and you go out again. And it's the same kind of gameplay in some way.
And that's probably one to shout out as well, actually, while we're talking about games. BI announcing that Vigor is coming over to PC as well. So that's quite interesting. I don't know much about it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. Do people call it Vigor? I always thought it was the Vigor. That's how I was saying
I just call it Vigor, like as in vigorous. Is how I always thought it, but I think it's a bit like DayZ. Some people say DayZ, some people say DayZ. What do you say, Lappa?
I think I would say vigor, but I think that's because I've learned my English from like the New England style. So people say.
But Helkiana is a snob, so Vigor sounds much more snobby, doesn't it?
It does.
Mate, Helkiana, you are fitting in like a glove here, mate. You've got a great sense of humor. You can give it and you can take it. I like that. That's awesome. That's brilliant. But no, definitely check it out, folks. Beautiful Light, the extraction shooters. They're all the rage at the moment. They're still going strong. I'm just trying to find something. I did see, did I share it? General chat, I think I put it in. Let's see if I can handle sharing this, because this was quite funny. And you got me thinking about with extraction shooters and feedback, and it sort of ties into a lot of stuff.
If not, maybe I can try.
Discord for voicing concerns. Yeah, what did you say? Because I feel like they're not going to ban you for voicing concerns. Where's the UI from? From any game that's done extraction style looters for like the last few years. It's kind of difficult to make it any different. Like, you've got a body that you put stuff on, and you've got a stash or whatever. Like, it's not. How do you change that UI? You don't. Like, that's. You don't need to. That is different. That looks nothing like Escape from Tarkov. It has the same premise, but it looks nothing like it. The visually, it's not the same at all.
That didn't work, did it?
It was like the video was lagging quite a bit, but I could hear the sound.
Yeah.
And then it like stopped.
Yep. I'll share the link to that. But it was basically a guy just saying that there's nothing wrong with emulating something that you like, and it's probably comes into what you were talking about, Lappa, with Stalker servers. There are many people out there doing Stalker servers, but it doesn't matter whether you're putting your own spin on it, provided you're not directly ripping just let it go. But yeah, that was a very, very funny rant by Friendly Guy, especially the way that ends. Pity my internet's playing silly buggers today. But yeah, Erno, I know you love Stalker, mate. Erno, I still want to get you and do a spotlight with you, mate, because you're a bit of a sleeper in the DayZ community, but definitely well known in the Stalker community, isn't he, Lappa?
Yeah, I think everyone who has been involved with Stalker at some point is aware of Erno, and yeah, I think he's on hiatus and preparing some new big thing right now.
Awesome. Okay, we are almost done for this week, folks. One last shout out. Don't forget to check out Humble Bundle. They've got a really cool trains pack. I'll share the link in the Humble Bundle channel in the podcast Discord, discord.gg/878survivor.fm. But if you love train sims, they've definitely got one that is up your alley. A whole bunch of games, and yeah, I just kind of thought it might be a nice fitting one with DayZ, with the hype train still being relatively fresh in everyone's mind as well. So there's a bunch of train sims as well. Any purchases made, support the show and us. And as always, if you want to support us, don't forget the powerly.gg link, which gets split up equally between all the people involved in making the show come to you each and every week. I'm still working on the alerts, but I did see Offset, you did a donation earlier as well, mate, of $20. Thank you so much. That gets split up equally between the team. You can ask them. Knowing them, they'll probably troll and say that I don't pay them their share of it, but it's all done automatically by powerly.gg, so they can go fuck themselves.
I just want to add, since you were talking about Humble Bundle, and we do have some others watching, and Lappa is here as well. So Humble Bundle, if you go on the software bundles, you can find a lot of times like Unreal Engine assets, which you can then take out and use in DayZ. They even have one now, which I haven't seen because I usually am like there every week, to check what's new. Because they do tend to be quite cheap. It's usually about £20 for one of these packs. And you get like a great library of assets. Like you might not use the whole thing, right? But then I don't know, you might see a lamp in there and like, oh yeah, that and you get that in your map or something. I always encourage, and if people like want to learn how to like extract from Unreal Engine, I can always teach that. But
at the moment they've got Learn to Make Games in Go.4, which is the software that the Road to Tarkov developers now using. They've got a bundle for complete AWS, CompTIA, Azure, Google Cloud, and cybersecurity certification, a 3D CAD, Dream It, Design It, Build It, Krotos, SFX and plugins for sound design, Game Master's Toolkit, stuff for cyberpunk handguns, object distribution tools, stuff that I don't even understand. But yeah, we've got
that one, Game Master's Toolkit. That's the one that has loads of assets for Unreal. Just double check that. Usually it's Unreal. Like they sometimes do have for the Unity as well. I haven't really tried using that as much to try and export from Unity. It's a lot easier in Unreal Engine.
Here's one that might interest. They do a lot of teaching stuff as well. And this one's a Blender core skills. So for the people who are interested in learning how to basically do art on objects of that, which is what Blender is, as I understand it, you've got packs like this one as well. So, yeah. And if you just use our referral link, the one I'm about to post just now, any purchases you make, we get a share as well, and our charity of choice, which is Wounded Heroes in Australia. But back to the show. We are now down to individual spotlights. I'll also be posting this week, next week's DayZ Wiki trivia question. So stay tuned to the YouTube channel for that to pop up. But yeah, individual spotlights. What we do here, Lappa, is we just ask people to shout out something that they would like to shout out. Anything you would like to shout out, mate?
I would like to shout out our project. I would like to shout out, it's called The Renegade. If you want to check it out, it would be great. I'm sure Bodhi has our social somewhere, but we are great. We're passionate people. We like to enjoy newcomers and expand our community. We do it because we love the game. We love the potential that it has, and we love to explore new stuff. I like to shout out also everyone who's involved with the project and not exactly part of the project. So thank you for participating. And I would also like to shout out this podcast for inviting me and Hunter for referring me.
Mate, it's what we like to do around here is shine the spotlight on stuff to just help people to understand or maybe find something new that they like. And hopefully you get some new people from this. And I've enjoyed your take on a lot of things, mate. You've got a very similar mindset to most of us around here. Maybe not as snobby as Helkiana, but
Right. Yeah, I think that's what keeps the community together is that, we like to share our opinion and move forward.
Yep. And there's all his socials as well, folks. I just posted them in chat. So yeah, good luck with any journeys you may have on the Renegade server. Where's the server based?
Well, it's mostly like Czech and Slovak community, as I mentioned.
Yep.
But it's also very open to English speaking people. So if you want to check it out and try something new for change, we have a lot of things to surprise you with.
And what a great way to, if you're really chasing immersion, what a great way to do it than go and play with a bunch of Eastern European sounding English speakers.
Yeah, you can try it. You can practice your broken Russian English, and you can try to RP with us.
Yeah, I barely remember any Russian. I walked all the way around Russia thinking Bon Aqua was how you say water in Russia, but it was actually just a brand of water. So it was like walking around saying Evian. Can I have some Evian or something? Yeah, I'm an idiot. Helkiana, something you'd like to shout out?
Well, since we were talking earlier about some more assets, and like we have another mother as our guest. I want to remind people to join the revolution. Post on this ticket, please, as to why would it be important for us mothers to get access to the DayZ assets, so we can like
share a
modify
link?
them, learn from them. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
I'll share that on Twitter as well and any other socials as well. If you could send me a DM with just a bit of a spiel as well and why it means so much. But yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
I put in that ticket a lot of it, like
Okay, yeah.
So, like 6 examples of why this could be useful for us mothers, and
maybe we talk about this in depth next week as well. Right, the next episode.
next week
after I come back from Prague.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like they did respond.
I could talk about it while I'm there if you want.
Yeah, I mean, push for it. See if you can, get some.
I'm not adverse to doing that, mate. I'm in the lion's den, so I may as well poke the bear while I'm in there.
Yeah, like they did answer. They said they're talking about it, but it just hasn't been anything since. And I don't really want to push it, but like I will post soon on that and ask them for an update if they can. Like I said, I'm asking for a lot, but I am initiating a discussion between mothers and Bohemia kind of thing.
So you were struggling to keep a straight face then too, weren't you? Fucking Skulls Peter. This is why I love my community, man. It's not mine, but you know what I mean. But everyone's got a sense of humor around here. That was just gold, Skulls Peter. This is why you need people around you who keep you honest, who aren't afraid to give you a bit of a poke every now and then. That was good. If you're already dead, you might as well go out with a bang. I'll shirt front Marek in one of the hallways around there and bail him up, Helkiana. I'll wear a GoPro on me so you can all watch it live as I get the shit beaten out of me. But no, I'll definitely I'll look into that and consider asking about that while I'm there if I get the opportunity to, because we are planning on doing a show. But yeah, It's an important thing,
Yeah.
folks. Look into go click on that. Throw your support behind it. If you've got any questions on how to do that, just post up in the podcast Discord, discord.gg/878 Survivor FM, and the team will help you with what you need to do to throw your support behind it. Mine for this week is the event that I did on Saturday night with Vigilante Gamer, Savas, Prestige Plays, Sinner, who's in chat there, bunch of others. We had a blast. We're only a small community in Upside Down Land. We had just over 20 people, with almost with 8 of us being the bodyguards, and they still managed to take us all out. It was a great event, and I can't wait to do one. I spoke with Cobra last week, if you remember, Helkiana, and said, we might look, depending on how well it goes, doing one in the EU area, and I definitely want to do one. Maybe not soon. That was $220 of money out of my pocket to fund it, but I like to do things like that. It adds a bit of hype, it adds a bit of pressure on people, and I might play with the rules a bit. We've got some pretty cool assets that were made with some in-game money, and maybe if you get the kill, you've got to get the note and then take it somewhere to cash it in. They managed to capture Vigilante Gamer alive as well, which was awesome. But yeah, and I will check that out. Scale Speeder, the friendly podcast, with their theories on what's in store for us. I'll be very interested to see that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Lappaduch, loved seeing. I've only ever seen much of the Stalker stuff, honestly, from Erno's videos. So it was nice to see some stuff and have it explained a bit better by having you on here. If you're interested in that realm, folks, there's plenty of servers out there, but if you're in that area and you've got a decent ping to it, go check out Renegade. I'll share the links again for everything, his YouTube channel, all of it's there. Discord, go check it out. Show some love to our guest. And if you want to show some love to the team, remember, powley.gg, 878 Survivor FM, and it gets shared amongst all the team. I'm trying to push that a bit because I really want to. We've got a really good team at the moment, and I really want to. Money's always a great way to say thank you to someone, and this way, because the YouTube channel makes bugger all. It's usually always demonetized. This is a way that money goes directly to them, and I don't spend it on KFC. So yeah, because I'm a fat bastard, aren't I, Scale Speeder? But no, thank you all so much. Next week's guest, let me just quickly check
Next week or next?
As in the next episode after Prague.
Do you know the day when that's going to be? That I think might be easier for people to know.
The episode from Prague will most likely be 2nd of May. Still confirming stuff. And then the show will be back the weekend after, which is, let me just check. Looking at my calendar. The 12th of May, or the 13th of May for us in Upside Down Land in Australia and New Zealand. So, yeah. See you again if Boydie gets back from Prague in one piece. I'm probably going to have a heart attack if they make me walk more than 5 meters, but yeah.
Must be Prague is a very welcome city.
I'm excited, mate. It looks beautiful. Our guest for the next episode is Derleth, one of our regulars in chat, and we're going to be talking about a bit of DayZ burnout and how to handle that. It's a 10-year-old game, folks. It's easy to get burnt out on a lot of things in 10 years. Some people don't even last 10 months married, do they, Helkiana? So, yeah.
Yeah, not that I would have an experience. But yeah, I know, it's gonna be interesting. I actually know that I've seen them around quite a bit. But yeah, it would be nice. I do have experience with the burnout on DayZ, so
yeah,
I'll have a lot of stuff to say.
Awesome, folks. See you all next week. Lappa, once again, thank you so much, and ciao for now.
Thank you.
Bye.